Hey everyone, I'll be covering the calculator section of the March 2020 SAT. So let's dive right into number one. If S equals 4, what is the value of 20S minus 15S? So we simply plug it into the two S's that we have. So we get 20 times 4 minus 15 times 4, which is 80 minus 60, which is equivalent to 20. Answer choice D. Number two, the line graph shows the number of space shuttle launches by the United States from 1981 through 1986. During which year of this time period was the number of space shuttle launches the greatest? So when is the number of launches, or the Y value, the greatest? So the highest point, which is here, which is 1985, answer choice B. Number three, American marsupials and Australian marsupials are two primary groups of marsupials. The table shows the number of species in each order of living marsupial by group. Based on the table, what fraction of the Australian, so basically, when it says a fraction of a certain amount, the bottom is the total population of where we're looking for. So Australian marsupial species. And then the numerator would be Australian marsupial species that are specifically the order Paramelemorphia. And if you see the chart, we get 24. The total number of Australian, this would just be all of them added up. So 1 plus 71 plus 24 plus 2 plus 137, which is equal to 235, which is 24 over 235, which is answer choice B. Number four, 10 data points are in the scatter plot shown, along with a line of best fit. Which of the following best estimates the predicted value of Y when x is equal to 6.5? So I'm going to go straight to where x is equal to 6.5 and see where it's best predicted. And the line of best fit will always best predict what the value is. So I'm going to move over to the left and determine that the Y value of 16 is closest when x is equal to 6.5, which is why answer choice D is our answer. Number five, what is 120% of 2000? So 120% is the same thing as 1.2. So remember, if I was asking for 100% of 2000, it would be 1 times 2000. So 120% is 1.2 times 2000, which we get answer 2,400, which is answer choice C. All right, number six. A field has a perimeter of 960 feet. Of the following, which is closest to the perimeter of the feet in meters? And it tells you that a foot is equal to 0.3048 meters. I'm going to get used to creating these fractions that make it easier. So what has to be in the bottom for these feet to cancel out? Because we don't want the units feet anymore. We want the feet to be at the bottom. It's the same thing as saying 960 feet over 1, right? So we're going to have the feet at the bottom, which is 1 foot, is equal to 0.3048 meters. So obviously this can be easily explained, or you could do a simple operation of multiplication from the start, but by setting up the scenario for the fractions helps it easier to cancel out units. So the feet cancel out, and all we have to do is 960 multiplied by 0.3048, which we get to be 290 meters, or answer choice B. Number seven, the box plot summarizes the data. Which of the following could be the median annual cost of automobile insurance for automobile owners in the city? Okay, so the median in any box plot is always the middle, right? So this is the minimum, this is the maximum, this is the 25th percentile, this is the 75th percentile, and this value here is the median, which is closest. It's in between 16,000 and 17,000, which the answer is A, 1625. Number eight, the table lists selected values, yada, yada, yada. Which of the following equations best describes f of x, right? So we know that this is the x value on the left side, speed, and the right side is going to be f of x, right? Because it says that Sam's speed, x, and his pulse, f of x, right? And so which equation best describes this? So this can be a simple plug and chug question. I always suggest to choose like the second number when you plug it in, or like the middle number, because it makes it easier to figure out whether the answer is true or not. So when we look at answer choice A, we plug in 6 here, and we get this is equal to 63, meaning that A is not the answer. Then we move on to B, and we plug in 6 here again, and we're able to get 91, which is again not the answer. This time we plug it into C, so we get 6 here is equal to 87, which is indeed true, which is why C is the answer. I will warn you, you should be going through all the answer choices to make sure that all 3 data point values are fitting. So in this case, I wouldn't conclude C just yet. I would solve again 6, plug in 6 here to make sure, and -30 plus 97, again, doesn't fit the answer. So that's when you should conclude the answer choice is C. Number 9, based on the 2010 US Census, the population of Milwaukee, Wisconsin was about 96% of the population of Baltimore, Maryland. So I like to create an equation. So let's say Wisconsin was and is are equal to each other. And in math, we say the equal sign. So Wisconsin is equal to 0.96 multiplied by Baltimore. And then it continues to say in that same year, Milwaukee's population was about 595,000. So Milwaukee being Wisconsin, so 595,000 is equal to this, and we're looking for Baltimore's population. So we simply divide by 0.96 in order to find Baltimore. And the answer is 620,000 when you punch that in the calculator. A. Number 10. In 1855, okay, stopping to rest for only 10 hours of the 143 hours it took him to reach Portland, if his average speed while traveling without resting was 5 miles per hour, how many miles did Louis Remy travel? Okay, so I like to break it down to out of the 143 hours, 10 hours were for rest, meaning that 133 hours he was driving. And at what pace? 5 miles per hour, right? So we need to calculate how many miles they traveled. The 10 hours, it doesn't matter, right? Because they're just resting. So we need to figure out the moving hours, which is 133 multiplied by 5 miles per hour. So we get 665 miles that were total traveled, which is answer choice A. Number 11, each of the 25 data values in a data set is a different integer between 1 and 50 inclusive. The table gives the frequency of the data for 5 intervals. Which of the following intervals contains exactly 2/5 of the values in the data set? Okay, so first we have to think about how many total are there, and there's 25 data values, right? And if 2/5 of 25 data values, you can just multiply those two together, meaning 10 values. So it's asking like which interval contains 10 values of the data set, right? So we can go through all of them. So 1 through 20, we get this portion here, which is 12. Then we have 11 through 30, which is this portion here, which is 8. Then we have 21 to 40. So we have this and this here, which is 11. And then our last portion is 31 through 50, which is this portion here, which they add up to be 10, which is answer choice D. Very convoluted question, but once you break down, there's no mathematical rigor to this question. Number 12. The table above shows the distribution of the number of extracurricular activities that students participate in. The number of students who participated in 2 extracurricular activity is 120 more. So this 120 more than the number of students who participate in 1 extracurricular activity. What is the total number of students? So basically there's a 120 difference between 1 extracurricular and 2 extracurricular, meaning that 25% of the students, so the difference between 1 and 2 is 25%. So 25% of the students is basically 120 students because it's 120 difference, right? So we can figure out the total number of students by just multiplying this by 4. So we get a total of 480 students that attend this middle school. B. All right, number 13. For her job, Natasha spent a total of N minutes processing ID card applications and driver's license applications. It takes Natasha 15 minutes for ID application and 20 for driver's license. And then there's a graph here, right? And so what is the value of N, which is the minutes that it takes for all possible combinations of number of ID applications and number of driver's license application. So this is actually more simple as long as you understand the concept. So for each number of driver's license, so we're on the y-axis here, how many minutes does it take to process? And the answer is 20 minutes, right? And then on this side here, the number of ID card applications processed, how long does it take per application? And it's 15 minutes. Essentially, these points are all the different combinations that she's able to do. But a simple way to actually answer this question is figure out if she spent all her time doing driver's license applications, how long will it take? If she spent all her time doing ID card applications, how long would it take? So essentially, I'm going to multiply the 20 minutes by 27 and find out 540 minutes that she can spend, right? The other way you can approach this is also do 36 times the 15 minutes for the ID card applications, and you'll get the same answer of 540 minutes. Same goes for any of these points that you chose. I chose the most easiest ones, but for example, if you were to choose this one specifically, it's 16 ID cards and a 15 driver's license. So you would do 15 times 20 minutes plus 16 times 15 minutes, and you'll still get the same answer choice of 540 minutes. This is like the amount of time that she has on her hands, which is answer choice B. Number 14, the xy plane, what is the y coordinate of the y-intercept of the graph of the equation? Y equals 3x minus 12 over x plus 2. So once again, recognizing y-intercept is what is y value when x equals 0. So once you recognize that, all you have to do is plug it into the equation. So y equals 0 minus 12 over 0 plus 2, which is negative 12 over 2, which is negative 6. Answer choice A. For 15, the coordinates of points A, B, and C are shown. For which of the following inequalities will each of the points A, B, and C be contained in the solution region? So I'm going to start with A and basically plot it onto the graph. So y is greater than negative x minus 2. So I'm going to draw it as if it's a line, but then it's dotted. So go up 1, go up over. All right, and then dot this line with inequality. And it says greater than, meaning that the right side, and our first answer choice actually happens to contain all 3 of our solutions of A, B, and C. So A is our answer here. Number 16. In the figure above, AB equals AD, BC equals CD, BE equals 2, BC equals 4, and AC equals 10. So there's 2 approaches for the area of triangle ABD. One is to find the area by using the formula 1/2 base times height, and the other can be to find the area of the kite and subtract the area of triangle BCD to solve for it. So I will show you both ways. So let's start with the area of triangle ABD. It's equal to 1/2 base times height. So we still need to look for this AE value. And in order to solve that, we have to look at a smaller view of the smaller triangle in order to solve for it. So let's take a look at triangle BCE. So if we zoom in here, We have 2 here, 4 here, and then mystery here. So we're going to use a Pythagorean theorem. 2 squared plus EC squared equals 4 squared. EC squared is equal to 12. And so EC is equal to square root 12. Meaning that this blue portion here is equal to square root 12. So in order to find this height value, which is the red portion, it would just be 10 minus square root 12. So 1/2 times 4 times 10 minus square root 12 equals 2 times 10 minus square root 12 equals 20 minus 2 square root 12. And from the answer choices, we can continue simplifying to get 20 minus 4 square root 3, which is answer choice C. And the other method that you can use is to find the area of the entire kite. So we get 1/2 base times height is equal to 20. And then we can find the area of the triangle BCD and subtract it. So the triangle BCD is equal to 1/2 base 4 times height, which is the square root 12 that we found earlier, which is equal to 2 square root 12. So again, we can combine these two and get this subtracted by 2 square root 2. So 20 minus 2 square root 12. In other words, this is equal to 20 minus 4 square root 3, which will get you the same answer as method 1, BC. Number 17. The graph above shows the distribution of the number of years of experience for 25 teachers enrolled in an advanced degree program at a particular university. If a 26th teacher with 2 years of experience is added to the program, what will be the effect on the mean and median of the data set? Okay, so first we're going to sort of change this. So we have one more here. This is the change that has occurred, right? So let's think about the median first. What would happen? So we have 4, 7, 8, 4, 2. Essentially, we would cross out 4 here. We would cross out here. Then we cross out 2 here. We have 5 here. Cross out 5 here. And we have median being 3, right? So originally our median is 3. And I'm seeing now, even if we added one more here to 2 years of experience, the median would still be 3. So this is unchanged. However, in terms of the mean, we're going to have to calculate. So 4 plus 14 plus 24 plus 16 plus 10 divided by how many there are. So 4 plus 7 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2. So this gives us 68 divided by 25, which in other words is 2.72. So our current mean is 2.72. If we have a data value of 2 that enters this data set, what will happen to the mean? It will decrease, and so it will drag it more down, since the value being added is lower than its current mean, meaning that answer choice C would be the answer, since the median is unchanged, but the mean will decrease. Number 18, a sports store had 60 backpacks in stock, some with wheels, some without. The number of wheeled backpacks in the new shipment was twice the number of wheeled backpacks already in stock. So this new shipment is going to have double the wheeled backpacks in stock. And the number of backpacks without wheels in the new shipment was 5 times the number of backpacks without wheels already in stock. So once again, except without wheels, so I'll do 5x for that. So this is the new shipment that's coming in, and X is the number of without wheels in stock. So after this new shipment arrives, there were 330 backpacks in the store. Before the shipment, there were X wheeled and Y without wheels. So I should have used X and Y. So basically, let me rewrite that. There's 2X and a 5Y that are coming in the new shipment. And then this plus the original X and the original Y will all add up to 330 backpacks. Okay, so which of the following equations can be used with X plus Y equals 60 to solve for X and Y? So it's telling us that it's a system of equations. They give us one. So the first equation that they give us represents existing inventory. So they already have the 60 backpacks in stock, right? And this new shipment is going to be 2X plus 5Y. So this is probably the only trick part. So what is 2X plus 5Y equal to? It's not going to be 330 because that's the total after the new shipment comes in, right? The 2X plus 5Y is just a new shipment, which is 330 minus 60 that are already in stock, which is 270. So 2X plus 5Y equals 270. In other words, answer's choice B. All right. Number 19, h of x is equal to x minus 5 times x plus 5. The function h is defined as shown. For what value of x does the function h reach its minimum value? So I would like to graph this really quickly. So we have x plus x minus 5 here, x plus 5 here. And then if you multiply it out, it's a positive a value here. So we know it's going to be a smiley face instead of a frowny face. So we have smiley face here. And because it's symmetrical, we know that the minimum value is going to be right dab in the middle, which is x equals 0. Or answer choice C. Number 20. A set of data is represented by the scatter plot. Which of the following linear equation best fit the data? So what I'm going to do is first draw a line that kind of captures as many of the points as possible. I think this is about good. And then we want to find out the linear equation. First things first, I want to find the slope, right? So I'm going to choose 2 points here. So let's do here, and we'll do it at 6. We'll do here. So we can say like 6, 109, and 7, 127-ish. So we're going to use a slope form and find the slope, 127 minus 109 divided by 7 minus 6, which is 18 over 1, which is 18. So the slope is going to be around 18. And then the y-intercept we need to find. So this is 5 here. And so basically 2 answer choices left. Since A and B are out of the picture, this is 1.6x, this is 1.6x, meaning that the slope is 1.6 in these equations. The slope should be 16, right? Because that's closest to 18, which was like the rough calculation that I did. So the answer choice is either C or D. Now we need to figure out what the y-intercept is, which is not shown, but technically it would extend all the way down here until it's at 0 instead of 5 here, right? So we have to bring it down 5 more times. And what is the slope? For every x, we increase 16 times. So that means every time we decrease from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to 0, we can subtract 16. So basically at 5, we have 90, which is the y value. So we want to know at 0, what is the y value? So what we're going to do is 90 minus 16 times 5, which gives us 10. So again, it's a rough estimate. Basically, it should be a positive value. So which is why answer choice D is the answer here. Okay, because the difference is 1.6 versus 16, and the difference is negative 15.2 or positive 15.2. As long as you're not doing crazy calculations, your rough estimates should get you the answer for the graph equations. Okay, Number 21, an equation of the graph shown as ax plus by equals 6, where a and b are constants. What is the value of b? So the easiest point I find here is 0, -2. So I'm going to plug that into the equation here. So x is 0, and then y is -2. So -2b is equal to 6. So -2b is equal to 6 divided by -2. B is equal to -3, which is our answer choice A. Okay. If it told me to find the value of B, if your brain functions quick enough, if it was asking for the value of A instead of the value of B, then I would immediately recognize, oh, in order to solve for A, I want to make this value 0, right? I want to make by is equal to 0. So I'm going to look for when is y equal to 0. So I would have used this point here instead, right? 6, 0. Either way, you can solve for it and then solve for the other value, kind of like how system of equations work. But if your brain kind of functions quick enough, I would suggest you to think this way as well. Use 0, -2 because I'm looking for b, and this will cancel out a to become 0, and I can solve for b immediately. 22. The function w gives the estimated weight WL in pounds of a rainbow trout based on its length L in inches. Which of the following is best interpretation of the number 1.22? So this will happen quite often where they ask for this. I like to think of this in money terms because that's just easier for me. So I always like to think y is equal to amount in bank account right now multiplied by 1 plus or minus percent increase or decrease to the t value, which is the number of years passed. This is like the basic form of these type of questions, but let's go ahead and answer this specific question. So it's asking for what does 1.22 mean? That's going to be this portion here where it's 1 plus or minus percent increase or decrease. So is it increasing or decreasing? It's increasing by 22%. Every time it's a value above 1, it's an increase. When it's below 1, it's going to be a decrease. So we have a 22% increase here. Every time this is going to increase by 1, right? So every time L increases, W of L, which is weight, is going to increase by 22%, right? And so we're going to read all the answer choices. And B says, for each increase of 1 inch in length, the estimated weight of the trout in pounds increases by 22%, which is our answer. Again, the weight or the y value is going to increase by 22% every time L or T is increased by 1, okay? So always figure out the bank term or like savings account analogy first, and this question will become much easier to solve. 23. In the given figure, theta is an angle. If sine theta is equal to square root 3/2, what is cosine theta? So first you should solve for this, and you can know it by heart, or you could plug it in to this, right, and solve for that. But basically, theta is equal to pi/3. Okay. And so when it says what is cosine of theta, which is pi/3, actually I'm realizing, sorry, theta is on quadrant 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this would be pi/3 would be here. If you know your unit circle, meaning that this part would be 2 pi/3 here. So this will later determine whether it's positive or negative. But for now, cosine of pi/3 is equal to 1/2. And we just need to figure out if it's positive or negative. And how we do that is this analogy. All students take calculus, meaning that everything is positive here. Sine is positive here, tangent is positive here, and a cosine is positive here. And the quadrant we're in is quadrant 2, where only sine is positive. So if we find the cosine of theta, it's going to be negative. So -1/2, which is answer choice C. 24. The two-way table categorizes the change in value in July and August for 50 stocks. If one of the stocks that increase in value in August is chosen at random, so the denominator is increased in August, what is the probability that the stock also increased in value in July? So increased in August, but also in July. And it's going to be the total of increase in August is 30. Also increase in July is going to be 21. So 21 over 30, which if you solve for, will give you 0.70, which is answer choice C. 25. Minato drove 390 miles. Part of the drive was along local roads, where it's 20 miles per hour, and the rest is highway, where his average speed was 60 miles per hour. Drive took 8 hours. What distance in miles did Minato drive along local roads? So this is going to be a system of equations question. The first one being that the drive took 8 hours. So the first one, local, and then highway is H. So L plus H is equal to 8 hours. Again, this is number of hours in local. This is number of hours and on the highway. And the second portion is going to be the fact that Minato drove 390 miles. So that part's going to be the tougher part. So 20 miles per hour multiplied by L plus 60 miles per hour multiplied by H is equal to 390. And from here, it's going to be a system of equations. L plus H equals 8, and 20L plus 60H is equal to 390. Usually I like to prefer doing the elimination method, but in this case, I will be using the substitution method because it is pretty straightforward. So we have L is equal to 8 minus H, and I'll take that and plug it in. So we get 20 times 8 minus H plus 60H is equal to 390. 160 minus 20H plus 60H is equal to 390. 160 plus 40H is equal to 390. 40H is equal to 230, or H is equal to 230 over 40, which in other words is equal to 5.75. Okay, H is equal to 5.75, meaning that L is going to be 8 minus 5.75. So L is equal to 2.25. But this is not what the question is asking for. It's asking for what is the distance that Minato drove along local roads? So it's going to be the 20 miles per hour multiplied by the how long he drove on local hours, which is going to be 45 miles. Answer choice B. 26, x squared plus bx plus 16 equals 0. What value of b does the equation have only one solution? Okay, so for quadratic equations, this is something that everyone must memorize. B squared minus 4ac. When this is less than 0, and when this is equal to 0, and when this is greater than 0, you have to know all the different scenarios. So when it's less than 0, it means no real solution. When it's equal to 0, one solution. And when it's greater than 0, two real solutions. So this is something you have to memorize. And once you know this, you can solve for it because it says the equation has only one solution, meaning that b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. So b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. We know what a and c is equal to. A is equal to 1, b is equal to b, and c is equal to 16. So b squared minus 4 times 1 times 16 is equal to 0. B squared minus 64 is equal to 0. B squared equals 64, or B is equal to negative 8 or 8, which is answer choice D. 27. The function f is defined for all real numbers, and the graph of y equals fx in the xy plane is a line with a negative slope. So I'm just going to draw a line with a negative slope to visualize. Which of the following must be true? Number 1 says if A is less than B, then f of A has to be greater than f of B. So basically, let's say A is less than B, then f of A, the y value, is greater than f of B. And you think about this, and logically, yes, it does make sense. No matter which point on the line we're talking about, because it's a negative slope, the y value will always be greater on the left side than it is on the right side. So condition 1 is true. Condition 2 says if A is less than 0, then f of A has to be greater than 0. So it's saying that in this case, the line that I drew, yes, it is true. But we wanted to try to disprove it. So for example, we could draw a line with a negative slope like this. We have A here, and f of A is not positive, it's negative. So number 2 does not have to be true. And then at condition 3, if A is greater than 0, then f of A is less than 0. So it's saying that if the x value is positive, the y value has to be negative. And although that is true on this portion, once again, it is not true here. If A was here, the f of A value is positive, not negative. So condition 3 also doesn't have to be true, leaving us with answer choice A, 1 only. 28, in the equation above, A and B are positive constants, and A does not equal B. How many distinct x-intercepts does the graph of the equation in the xy plane have? The first thing I noticed, there's an x-intercept of 0 here. There's an x-intercept of A, x-intercept of A, x-intercept of negative B, and x-intercept of B. And it asks for how many distinct, so different. So A and A don't count as 2, it counts as 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 x-intercepts, which is why C is our answer choice here. Number 29, 1/3 multiplied by x minus k is equal to kx. In the given equation, k is a constant. If the equation has no solution, what is the value of k? So no solution, you have to recognize, means same slope. Okay, so let's multiply this out. 1/3 x minus 1/3 k is equal to kx. I'm going to simplify this to make it look easier. So multiply by 3. X minus k is equal to 3kx. So essentially, we need the same exact slope, meaning that the x value on the coefficient for the x side on the left value has to equal the coefficient on the x on the right side. So basically, this and this slope value have to be equal to each other, meaning that x is equal to 3kx. And essentially, if k is equal to 1/3, it will make this right side equal to x, right? So we will have the same slope on left and the right side, which is exactly what we want if we have no solutions. Remember, like parallel equations means no solution. And so D would be the answer choice. Parallel lines will never cross each other, never have a solution, which is exactly what we're looking for, the same slope. 30. The expressions x squared plus bx plus 10 and x minus 3 squared plus c, where b and c are constants, are equivalent. Okay, so I'm going to set them equal to each other. And then it says, what is the value of b plus c? So we're going to go ahead and solve this out. So this is going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus c is equal to x squared plus bx plus 10. So from here, it's actually relatively simple. Once you break it down, x squared is going to equal x squared. Bx is equal to negative 6x. And 10 is equal to 9 plus c. Okay, so you have to recognize the constant is also part of the single digit value, is also part of like the digit, just the number. So basically, we're going to have b is equal to negative 6. And then 10 is equal to 9 plus c. So c is equal to 1, meaning that b plus c is equal to negative 6 plus 1, which is negative 5. Answer choice D. 31. What value of x makes the equation above true? So we're going to say x minus 3 is equal to 0, x equals 3, which is our answer, 30. You can also do this, but you're going to come out to the same thing. X minus 3 is equal to 0, right? Okay. 32, in the data set shown, r is an integer. If the median of the data set is 8 and r is less than 11, what is a possible value of r? I'm going to write it out in order. So we have 4, 5, 5, 8, 11, 13. The median of the data set is 8 and r is less than 11. Okay, so the median should be right here. So usually what happens is you cross out left, and we're left with 5 and 8, right? But we want the median to be 8, meaning that we need the r value to be right here so that we can cancel out 5 and r, and the median is 8, right? So the answer can be, but it's less than 11, so it has to be either 10, 9, or 8 itself, right? If it is 8, then it will cross out and it will still be 8 as a median. So 8, 9, or 10, any of those answer choices would work for this question here. 33, system of equations. Immediately I recognize I can subtract, so I can get rid of the y's. So I get negative 4x is equal to negative 1, which is also x is equal to 1/4, which is what they're looking for, 1/4. 34. One serving of a certain brand of microwave popcorn provides 150 calories, 90 of which are from fat. One serving of a certain brand of low-sodium pretzels provides 120 calories, 12 are from fat. How many more calories from fat are provided by a 100-calorie serving of the microwave than are provided by 100-calorie serving of the pretzels? So basically, you're only getting 100-calorie serving. So you want to figure out how much fat is in the popcorn for 100 calories. So 100 over 150, because 150 calorie is one serving. So this multiplied by the total calories from fat for each serving will tell you how much calories from fat you get from popcorn for 100 calories, right? So this is equal to 60. Same concept applied here on the pretzel side. You're only eating 100 calories out of the 120 calorie serving, right? Multiplied by the 12 calories from fat. And you will get 10. So the difference between 60 and 10 will be your answer, which is 50. 35. The length in meters of the sides and the height of a parallelogram are shown. What is the area? Area of a parallelogram is base times height, which is also 10 times 5, which is 50. Number 36. The linear function f is defined by f of x is equal to cx plus d, where c and d are constants. If f of 50 is equal to 27,000 and f of 100 is equal to 38,000, what is the value of c? So this is a complicated way of, again, just setting up a system of equations. So we have x equals 50 when y equals 27,000, x equals 100 when y equals 38,000. So basically, c times 50 plus d is equal to 27,000, and c times 100 plus d is equal to 38,000. So I'm going to flip the order just to make it easier. So we have the bigger number on top. So 100c plus d is equal to 38,000. 50c plus d is equal to 27,000. And when we subtract this out, we get 50c is equal to 11,000 divided by 50 on both sides. C equals 220, which is what they're looking for. All right, number 37. Based on the line of best fit, the estimated value of a 6-year-old computer is $K,000, where K is an integer. What is the value of K? Okay, so based on the graph, we're going to look at 6 years. And it's because it's based on the line of best fit, we're going to go ahead and move over to the y, and we find that the answer is 15. Okay, number 38, our last question is, what is the number of computers for which the line of best fit predicts a value less than the actual value? Okay, so we're looking for how many points are above the line of best fit, right? Because it's predicting a value less than the actual value, right? So the actual values have to be above the line of best fit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is more like a counting one. And so there are 9 where the actual value is above the best fit, which is our last question for this section. I hope this was helpful. Go ahead, feel free to subscribe or ask any comments about any additional sections you would like for me to cover. Thank you.